French cars. Just hearing that phrase makes some car enthusiasts roll their eyes. The jokes about Peugeot's dodgy electrics, Citroen's bizarre designs, and Renault's questionable reliability are everywhere. But why do people say French cars suck? Are they really that bad, or is it just a stereotype? Let's dive deep into this controversy and separate the myths from the facts. And hey, stick around. By the end of this, you might just find yourself questioning everything you thought you knew about French cars. Or at the very least, you'll have some new automotive hot takes to argue about. Now, let's get into it. The reliability reputation, fact or fiction? When people bash French cars, reliability is often their first target. It's no secret that Peugeot, Renault, and Citroën have had their fair share of mechanical and electrical issues over the years. Stories of failing electronics, dodgy gearboxes, and engines that seem to have a death wish circulate like urban legends among car enthusiasts. But is this reputation fair? Historically, French manufacturers prioritized comfort and innovative designs over rock-solid reliability. Unlike German automakers, who built a reputation on precision engineering, French brands focused more on creativity and affordability. This sometimes led to experimental features that weren't always the most durable. Take Peugeot, for example. Back in the early 2000s, models like the 307 had notorious electrical gremlins. Renault's Laguna 2, a complete nightmare in its early years, with constant breakdowns and malfunctioning electronics. And Citroën? Let's just say their complex hydraulic suspension systems weren't exactly built for long-term hassle-free ownership. But here's the twist. Modern French cars aren't nearly as bad as their reputation suggests. Brands like Peugeot and Renault have made massive improvements in build quality and reliability over the last decade. In fact, Peugeot has even won awards for dependability in recent years. The problem? The stigma from their past mistakes still lingers, and people love to hold onto bad reputations. But let's be real. Every brand has had its share of issues. Even BMW, Audi, and Mercedes have had nightmare models. Yet, somehow, French cars seem to get the most hate. Why? It might have more to do with perception than actual reliability. Speaking of perceptions, ever been ghosted by someone who swore they liked you? Yeah, that's kind of how people treat French cars. They don't forget the bad experiences, even when things have changed. The quirky designs. Love it or hate it. French cars are weird, and that's both a strength and a weakness. While German brands are known for sleek, business-like designs, and American brands for their aggressive, muscular looks, French automakers often take a more artistic approach. Think of Citroën's C4 Cactus with its strange air bump panels, or the Renault Avantime, which looked like a minivan trying to be a sports car. And then there's the classic Citroën DS, a car that looked like it came from the future when it launched in the 1950s. Some people love the creativity. Others think it's just bizarre. This design philosophy extends beyond looks. The interiors of French cars often feature unconventional layouts. Ever driven an older Peugeot and wondered why the window switches are in the center console instead of on the door? Or why does Renault love using weird key card systems instead of regular keys? It's as if French engineers wake up every morning and ask, how can we make driving more interesting? The thing is, these quirky designs sometimes alienate buyers. People like familiarity. When they sit in a Volkswagen or a Ford, they know what to expect. But a Citroën? That's an adventure. That being said, many car enthusiasts love French cars precisely because they're different. They have personality. They don't just copy what everyone else is doing. And let's be honest. Would you rather drive something unique or another cookie-cutter sedan that looks like every other car on the road? Imagine dating someone who texts you good morning the same way every day. Boring, right? But a French car? It's like dating someone who surprises you with a handwritten poem on a random Tuesday. You might not always understand them, but you can't say they're dull. The performance paradox. Are French cars actually fun? Here's the thing about French cars. People say they suck, but have you ever driven a hot hatch from Peugeot or Renault? French automakers may not have the same supercar pedigree as Ferrari or Lamborghini, but they've mastered one thing: making small, front-wheel drive cars ridiculously fun to drive. Take the Peugeot 205 GTI. This little pocket rocket from the 80s is widely considered one of the best hot hatches ever made. Then you have the Renault Clio Williams, a car that punched way above its weight class. More recently, the Renault Megane RS has proven itself as one of the best handling hatchbacks on the market. Even Citroën, despite its focus on comfort, has had some performance gems, like the Mad C4 VTS and the DS3 Racing. The problem? People who don't follow the car scene often overlook these performance models. Instead, they focus on the bland economy models that French brands pump out in high volumes. Yes, a Renault Twingo isn't going to set your heart racing. But a Megane RS, that's a different story. It's like people judging an entire restaurant based on the salad menu. Sure, the basic options might not be thrilling, but have you tried the chef's special? The price versus quality debate. French cars have always been positioned as affordable options in the market. Instead, they're often up against brands like Ford, Toyota, and Volkswagen. But here's the issue. When people see a cheaper price tag, they often assume lower quality. And to be fair, some past models didn't exactly scream premium craftsmanship. Cheaper plastics, less refined interiors, and cost-cutting measures in certain models led to the perception that French cars were built to a price. However, in the last decade, Peugeot, Renault, and Citroën have stepped up their game. Look at the new Peugeot 508. It feels more like an Audi than a budget car. Renault's interiors have improved massively, and Citroën is pushing comfort levels that rival much more expensive brands. Yet, old reputations die hard. People still think of French cars as cheap and cheerful, rather than high quality. It's kind of like when someone loses weight and gets in shape, but their high school classmates still think of them as the chubby kid. No matter how much they've improved, some people just refuse to update their opinions. The love-hate relationship with French engineering. French automakers are known for thinking outside the box, sometimes to their advantage, sometimes to their downfall. Their engineering choices can be brilliantly innovative or frustratingly complicated. Take Citroën's legendary high-drop pneumatic suspension, a system that delivered an unbelievably smooth ride, but was complex and expensive to fix. Or Renault's decision to put the Espace's battery under the driver's seat, making a simple battery change an unnecessary adventure. And let's not forget Peugeot's obsession with tiny steering wheels in their iCockpit design. Some love it, others absolutely hate it. French cars often feel like they were designed by artists rather than engineers. That's what makes them unique, but it's also what makes them divisive. It's like dating a genius who sometimes forgets to pay their bills. Annoying? Yes, but also kind of charming in a weird way. So, do French cars really suck? Or is it just an outdated stereotype? Yes, they've had reliability issues in the past. Yes, their designs can be weird. And yes, they don't always feel as premium as German cars. But at the same time, they offer creativity, comfort, and some of the most fun-to-drive hatchbacks ever made. At the end of the day, it all comes down to what you value in a car. If you want something unique, comfortable, and sometimes surprisingly brilliant, French cars deserve a second look. And if nothing else, at least they make the automotive world more interesting. So, what do you think? Have you ever owned a French car? Would you? Or do you still think they suck? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into car culture, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Until next time, drive safe and keep those engines roaring.